Hey there folks, this is Father Dougal 9000 here, and welcome to another episode of Game Finish Trios, a series in which I talk about the games I've played and beaten as part of the Game Finish Challenge off of the Hardcore Gaming 101 forum. Oh, this is it, the last batch of games I beat and wrote about back in the year of our Lord 2021. All 2 of them. Well, sorta. I know 2's a bit of a weird number for things to finish out on. It's less weird than 0. But stick around until the end of the video. There might be a bit of a surprise, as well as the surprise of the 2 games I'm about to discuss. Unless you read the video title and know which games I'm going to discuss, which is very likely amongst those with functioning eyeballs. Today's games were originally logged from the 23rd to the 30th of December 2021. Super Mario Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch. This one's got a funny story attached to it, which I'd like to tell because, I don't know, I don't think there is terribly much to add about Mario Odyssey from a boring, neutral, objective point of view. I got this secondhand from the local secondhand game shop as a Christmas present for a friend about a week ago when I wrote this. I'd played a good chunk of it some years ago, and I had this silly notion of seeing how quickly could I beat the game since I wouldn't be seeing said friend for a good while. I knew that you'd get plenty of moons from beating the missions you have to accomplish before you're allowed to leave for the next stage if you've gotten everything by then. So I just needed to grab 1 or 2 extra moons on the way and I'd be done fairly quickly. Fairly quickly was an underestimation on my part. I started playing it up in the living room with my folks, who proceeded to watch their daily 2 episodes of Justified with Timothy Elephant and that guy who looks like Billy Crystal if he had Richard Hammond's teeth. By the time I went to bed and looked at the level list, I realized I literally only had a couple of worlds left. The idea of beating the main story in one night, admittedly a night that consisted of nearly 4 hours, but still was hysterical to me, and with that thought I decided to just do that. I went ahead and cleared the final main levels. Super Mario Odyssey is quite the neat game. It's got a very pick up and play mentality where you can get tons of moons by doing very little. That element has been criticized a bunch over the years, and I do understand and kinda even agree with it to some extent. For what it's worth, I recently noticed that the structure reminded me more of Ape Escape, where you have to do a certain thing, like collect 4 monkeys or beat these 3 main missions to unlock the next level. Everything else you do if you want, but it doesn't matter beyond unlocking some secret optional stuff or bragging rights. I don't know, maybe if that structure was communicated better, people would be more okay with it, since they'd at least know that's just how the game rolls and they don't need to get absolutely everything in one great go. That would probably make for a very tedious game. Or, I guess you could always just dip in and out of the game every now and again. That also works too. Whatever works for you. Game's the way that it is, so yeah, you just kind of have to meet it halfway after a point and see how you take it. And I took this one quite well. It's a pretty cool game. Hell yeah, Super Mario Odyssey. Saints Row the Third, full package for the Nintendo Switch. When it comes to Saints Row, I dearly love Saints Row 2 and 4, but I was always hesitant to check out Saints Row the Third, simply because of the bizarre DLC situation that existed on the original release. Back when it came out in 2011, Saints Row the Third promised something like 40 weeks of downloadable content, which resulted in lots of costumes, silly weapons, and a trio of mission packs. I was always under the impression that the main game might have been insubstantial without those mission packs in particular, so I never gave it a look. Even the original full package version that included all the DLC on the Xbox 360 and the like, it was something I didn't buy because I thought you'd need a download code in the box to actually get any of that stuff, and I buy games secondhand because it's just easier. Financially easier, that's a term that exists, but now it exists, so did deal with it. Well, I finally got the full package on the Switch a couple of weeks ago, and I can say that it is fine. It turns out those mission packs are just bonus things you can try, but don't heavily impact the game, which is, like, they're nice, they're cute little missions that you can choose to get a few more zany, wacky adventures out of the game, but they're just kind of, honestly, kind of forgettable, but they're what they are. As for the main game, the only way I can describe it is anemic. It's a pretty good game with some neat missions and a fair few interactions that got me smiling, but it all feels so threadbare. Characters don't really feel established. Rival gangs barely have a presence outside of the missions that involve taking them on directly, and you barely get to know anybody. It's such a stark comparison when going up against Saints Row 2, where the gangs had loads of rooms so you knew exactly who everyone was and what the stakes were, and against 4, where all your friends got the time to shine through both the main missions and optional character-focused side quests. I haven't played 2 or 4 in a while, but I remember minor details about them way more fondly than the 3rd, even though I'd been playing the 3rd throughout the week. Just doesn't make much of an impression, which is really such a shame. Also, I'm recording this a couple weeks after Volition, the developer for Saints Row, had shut down, which is also a mega turbo shame. They always seem like a very cool studio. Like I said, I really liked Saints Rows 2 and 4. I quite like Red Faction Guerrilla. I do want to get around to properly checking out the original Red Faction and give the first Saints Row a proper try. I don't have anything on which to play the new Saints Row that came out last year, which I hope is better than its reputation suggests. It always sucks when a game seems to end up with a reputation where it just gets relentlessly mocked, and especially worse when the people making it go away, essentially. I hope everyone from Volition is doing well, and don't normally go into negative vibes, but, you know, fuck Embracer. With the drill full of rusty nails, they are a bunch of bitches, and I mean that in the bad way. Saints Row is better than Embracer will ever be. Even Saints Row the 3rd, as it is, still better than Embracer. And with that, we've wrapped up another episode of the series. Now, I'll likely go into this again at the start of the next video, but we're not exactly done with 2021 just yet. There were a load of write-ups for games that I had left out of this series because I thought they wouldn't be substantial enough to include in the main videos. Usually write-ups that were only a single tiny paragraph, or more discussing technical things, talking shop, rather than going on about the game itself. I later realized that I probably should at least collect those unused write-ups and put them together in a nice big bonus video for folks who've been watching up until this point. So that is what we'll be doing next week. Hopefully next week. It's actually going to be a bit bigger than I had expected. Kind of feel like I probably should have just put these in their proper places instead of doing this, but you know, you live and learn. All that good stuff. I'm a bit of a numpty. Still, I hope that you enjoyed watching and that you'll tune in for that next big bumper video. thank you so much, and until we meet again, have a wonderful day.